Yo, what's up guys? It's me, DPX. How you guys doing? Now today, is the time of year again where I count down the top whatever movies I saw this year. This is every movie I saw, so like and only the ones I've seen. So if like a movie's not on here that you really liked, or for that case, one that you really didn't like maybe, I probably didn't see it. Anyways, guys, let's get right into this. Coming in last place is The Lion King. This one's just lazy. I feel, it's the same thing as The Lion King. You like The Lion King? Here's The Lion King, not even in live action, just looking more photorealistic. You got emotionless animals. You got stuff like being the same thing, plot-wise. Like, it's a scene by scene. The runtime's the same. Most of the dialogue's the same. There's some things a little different. Scars, he looks like shit in this. He looks like a lion that you've stepped on their face, and now he looks slightly irritated. Also, like the be prepared scene with its like green fogs and smoke and shit. That's not in this. Why would it be? Uh, the scene where Simba goes up to the clouds and sees his father telling him, "Remember who you are." And you can almost see Mufasa in the cloud. That doesn't happen. He's just talking to a cloud in this. Yeah, it's just not a good movie. Don't watch it. Watch the original if you really want to watch Lion King. And number 22 is Gemini Man. I was pretty excited for this movie actually, since I like Will Smith. I think he's cool. His movies can be a bit hit or miss, but he's a good actor nonetheless. And this was kind of interesting because you have older Will Smith against a younger Will Smith, and the de aging. See, the de aging was really well on Will Smith in this movie, and he does a great job in this movie too. But the plot is so boring. Like the story behind why any of this is happening. It's like, it's Will Smith, yeah, a retired soldier, a retired army soldier, but then something happens and he's gotta like get out of retirement. Like enough with that stupid plot. The rest of the movie, it's just boring. It's boring. I can't tell you about it really. It's just that boring. At number 21 is Dumbo. Okay, so I when I was like 5 or 6, I was a big fan of Dumbo. I don't know why. That was also way after Dumbo had come out. But I can't remember anything from the old Dumbo movie. And then I watched this movie. Thank God, not in theaters. I watched it on Disney Plus like a few nights ago, actually. But I still watch this movie, and I didn't quite remember like what happened in the original, but I highly doubt a character died at the beginning. It was about this family with a dad with a missing arm, about this little girl, about like Danny DeVito or Michael Keaton, or this fucking stunt girl, or the climax had a fucking circus burning down. I don't remember that from the original. I remember being like basically almost like a compilation of Dumbo performing in the circus. So I skimmed through the original after watching this, and to see if it like had anything, if any of this stuff that I don't remember were actually a part of it, and they weren't. I complained that The Lion King was the exact same thing as the original, and now I'm complaining that Dumbo is almost completely different. But you see, there are 3 different ways to make a remake, and one of them that I'm about to list is the right way. 1. Make the same exact movie. 2. Take the same movie, but then change it up and make it a little different while still being what you're trying to remake. And 3. Making a completely different movie. At number 20 is Noel. Noel is this is well, I was kind of, excited for this movie. I was looking forward to it because it was a Disney Plus original. I wanted to see what was in store for the Disney Plus originals, And this is one of two at launch. The other one seemed just like a no, but this also it has Anna Kendrick and it has Bill Hader, and I love both of them. And Christmas, which we all gotta love. So I watched it, and fuck me, this was bad. This was just basically uh, a lot of the movie is trying to be funny, trying to be cute, charming. You know, it fails at a lot of that. Like, there's a scene when they're at like a supermarket, and Anna Kendrick is like in the fucking freezer, like where all the food is, like where the ice cream is, kind of. And is like, what is that supposed to be funny? And then there's a scene where she's like talking to some other lady about yoga pants, and she's saying yogurt instead of yoga. Like, is that supposed to be funny? And there's a few scenes that touched me, like the scene with the deaf person. You'll know what I'm talking about if you've watched it. That was a pretty nice scene. And there's some other scenes that made me like chuckle, like that wasn't too bad. But it fell flat. Also, the effects are awful in this. I get it's a low budget, but they still look like stuff that I could have made for free. Next up is Six Underground. I was kind of interested in this movie, and I saw the director. It was Michael Bay. But then I saw it starred Deadpool. It was written by Deadpool. Writers behind Deadpool. I watched it, and it was boring. Oh my god, what was I watching? It's like the movie kind of just feels like it's violent, or it has a lot of cursing, or it's got a few sex scenes in it. Just because, why not? Why not? There's not much of a reason. It's just like if 7-year-old me just finds out about the word fuck and I decide to say it a lot. That's what this movie kind of feels like. There's also some of the music is fucking atrocious in it, like the run, that music that's in it, not as like a joke, but like during an actual like chase scene. And then there's other dubstep like that. What time are we in? Number 19 is X-Men Dark Phoenix. I stayed optimistic about this movie despite all the negative buzz because it got many delays. There's a bunch of backstage drama. The director had never directed a movie before. It was also the writer, and the writer wrote X-Men Last Stand, which butchered the same exact story they're doing this time. So I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with that, but I still stayed optimistic because the cast is nice. Sophie Turner, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jessica Chastain, all really good actors and actresses. So I like the X-Men as well. I think they're pretty interesting. They're a bit different from the MCU. I watched this and it was no, I didn't like it. One thing like you got like the first scene where like Jean Grey gets like all her powers from space, and that's like that sequence was pretty cool. But then it sort of like fumbles from there. Um, it's not really. I don't know. The pacing is just slow. Characters like Professor X is egotistical, and no, that's not Professor X. He's not supposed to be egotistical. What? And you got like Jessica Chastain's character, which I can't even tell you the name of. Her character is just so forgettable, and it's the villain, so forgettable. I can't like. What was her name? What was anything about her? She just wanted enough. She just wanted her powers, Jean Grey's powers. So unfortunately, the X Men franchise went out with a whimper. But I'm pretty excited to see what Kevin Feige's got. At number 17 is Lady and the Tramp, the other Disney Plus original that released on launch day with Noel. I was thinking Noel was going to be way better than this one. What am I talking about? a movie about talking dogs. It wasn't. It was kind of. It was definitely more charming than Noel. I found this one charming. That it had charm to it, and it was cute as well. And but it suffers from one of the same issues as The Lion King. That is emotionless animals. But why is this one way higher than The Lion King? Well, that's simple. Because they used real dogs, and they have humans that emote. Yes, good. The thing is, with the dogs, they use real dogs, but they added slight CG to make their mouths move. But there's this one like scene where a lady has her head turned while she's talking, and like you can see her mouth moving up until she turns, and you can see her head turned all the way for like 1 second. But if you look closely for that 1 second, like I noticed this without even looking closely. I just looked closely to make sure. Her mouth isn't even fucking moving. Like, what? Yeah, it. I don't know. It's just Lady and the Tramp was never really like the best movie to begin with. Uh, you got Tessa Thompson and Justin Theroux as Lady and the Tramp. They do an alright job. The dog catcher is really good in this movie. I feel he sort of turned into a comic relief character though, but you know, they also had the Siamese cats uh, that were obviously CG, and they kind of stood out, and it was really weird. They changed the song, but this movie nothing much to write home about. At number 16 is Godzilla King of the Monsters. You got, I was really looking forward to this movie. Every trailer just got me more and more excited, and I I was hooked. The 2014 one was really good. The main problem with that, though, was not enough Godzilla. Even though he's the main title character, not enough of him. Which is, yeah, understandable. You come to the Godzilla movie to see Godzilla. So I saw this one, and they showed a lot of Godzilla. Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan, all, and every time they were on screen, I was very entertained. Like, it was, my eyes were glued to the movie theater, like, fucking screen. So it was really cool whenever I saw the monsters, but, like, whenever the humans were on there, though, it was, it's so boring. They're so forgettable. All the humans. I know they showed a lot more of the monsters, but, like, a good portion was the humans. Which means a good portion of the movie was fucking boring. And if it's a Godzilla movie, it shouldn't be boring. It has a nice universe that's setting up and everything. This shouldn't be boring. Why am I watching a boring Godzilla movie? Millie Bobby Brown has a good performance. She's probably the most memorable character. I can't even remember what her name was. I think I said it in my review. I think I remembered it in my review. But that's it. That's the only character I can really remember. Um, yeah, this movie's kind of forgettable. Number 15 is It Chapter 2. Now we're getting into like the territory of stuff that I actually liked. Because It Chapter 2 I thought was good with some problems. The main problem it had was its runtime. It did not need to be like almost 3 hours long. I think it was like 2 hours and 50 minutes or something, or 3 hours. But and you'll see why it didn't. There's not a whole lot that happens in the movie. Like a lot of the stuff that goes on in the movie is like going on is happening to the same character individually, like we're experiencing something from their past. It's also like you see like the scene with Eddie and his mother particularly, where his mother's like tied up to like a chair or something, and like uh, she's about to get killed, and then Eddie like runs away because he's scared. Um, so that would have been a much more like scary scene if that wasn't set in the past, and we didn't know how that was going to turn out. So we know how that's going to turn out. We know both of them come out alive, and it's not really that interesting. Again, though, like the de aging is also something really weird. But other than that, though, it was a really good movie. You know, Bill Skarsgård is as creepy as Pennywise once again, and he and the cast is also really nice. We got James McAvoy, we got Jessica Chastain, we got Bill Hader, who probably steals the show more than anyone in the movie. He has an arc in the movie that probably the best arc. Um, the thing that happens at the end with one of the members of the Losers Club uh, is really you really feel bad, especially for Bill Hader who takes or Richie, he plays Richie, who takes it probably the most personal, I guess. So yeah, it was a good movie with some flaws, but I'm sure you'll like it if you like the first one. At number 14 is Captain Marvel, and this movie is coming after the hype of Avengers Infinity War and the hype we were going through with Avengers Endgame. I'll get into that one a bit later. This one actually kind of disappointed me. It's a little bland, but like at least in between the MCU's two biggest movies, and I feel like it's when the MCU peaked. We got kind of like a bit of a bland movie, to be honest, but I think you know, some of the stuff was stupid, like the way Nick Fury lost his eye, the some of the scrolls. I originally thought that was like a problem because they were kind of advertised as like the villains, but then I realized, wait a minute, this makes a lot of sense. There shouldn't be an entire species of villains. You know, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense that there are good scrolls. And we got good performances from certain characters, like or actors. Brie Larson, I thought was good as Captain Marvel. We got Nick Fury is good, or Samuel L. Jackson is good as Nick Fury. Clark Gregg is good as Coulson. Uh, Jude Law is good as Jan Rog, and Ben Mendelsohn is good as one of the Skrulls. And we also got some nice de aging in there. So it's a decent movie. If you like the MCU, definitely go see this movie. But this, for when it came out, I expected a little better. Next up, we got Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. This one, aside from Endgame, which again I'll get into a bit later, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker was probably like my most anticipated movie. Like I love Star Wars. If there's any movie franchise that maybe even like a partial movie guy was probably Star Wars. With Star Wars, I like the characters, I like the lore, the worlds. I like stuff like lightsabers, Jedi, Sith. It's all very interesting to me. And I actually defend the more recent Star Wars movies. But this one, they kind of fucked up with this one. But I don't think it was bad. Many people say it's atrocious, it's the worst Star Wars movie. No, far from it. It's a good movie. In fact, I think it's a really good movie. Not like a very good movie, though. It should have been. I wanted to love it. I wanted to put it much higher on this list. I was expecting it to make the top five, honestly. I really wanted it to, but it didn't. Well, at one side, you got the characters of Rey and Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren specifically having a really nice arc. You got Rey, who is still very interesting. There's a little bit of problems with her though, but like the main problem with this though is the fact that this movie tries to be an apology for the Last Jedi, which I didn't think was too bad. But now as a trilogy, it's not really like the best movie. So it's almost like there's two movies in this movie. J.J. Abrams is Episode 8, and then Episode 9. And it also tries to introduce new characters that the movie just doesn't have time for. Like, I like Dio and Babu Freak, but the movie didn't really have much time to introduce them. And then, like, Poe's girlfriend, the Power Ranger girl, like, why? And then Finn's girlfriend, why? And there's some really good, feel-good moments there. Especially the final battle. Like, I really like that scene. It was really nice. Um, and the way they brought back the Emperor, though, didn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, it's sort of like, hey, I'm back, guys. What's up? I'm the bad guy. It's a good movie for any Star Wars fan. And number 12 is Detective Pikachu. And what's this? A good movie based off of a video game? Holy shit! What world do we live in? Yeah, this movie is actually pretty good. It was a bit divisive when it came out, but like, no, I really liked it. You know, yeah, sure, Justice Smith doesn't give a good performance. Neither does Catherine Newton. With Justice Smith specifically, it's kind of weird with him. It's like he doesn't like. There's a mission to find his father, but he doesn't really care. And as an audience, like you don't care until he meets this girl. Played by Catherine Newton, who's pretty forgettable too. I can't even remember her name, and but like, uh, she wants to help him with this, and now he wants to do it because he really likes this girl, and that's basically the plot there. Plus the amount of plot twists in this movie, there's like so many, and it honestly made my fucking head spin at one point when watching it. Plus the one at the end, I didn't really like because like it kind of ruins its chances to have sequels, especially at least with Pikachu, they can do like a movie about like another Pokemon. But the world they set up though, Rhyme City, is a really nice atmosphere in this movie. Ryan Reynolds is great. Like you can really see that Pikachu is like he can talk, you can understand. Like Ryan Reynolds is a good Pikachu, I feel. But it's a good movie. There's some nice scenes. It's actually really funny too. Some of the humor actually landed for me, and it's it's a good movie for any Pokemon fan. At number 11 is Togo. This is another Disney Plus original that came out a little later. So obviously, if I were to put this against Noel and Lady and the Tramp, this would have kicked both of their little stupid asses. Um, but this one, I'm almost just seeing that Disney dropped this trailer. I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this? I clicked on it, and whew, that trailer got me hooked. It's based off of a true story. Apparently, knew nothing about the story, and apparently, it's like an untold true story. So, whoa! But um, no, William Defoe's in it. He's really good. And he has like this sort of sleigh of. He plays a character named Leonard something. He has a sleigh of dogs basically that help him. That's gonna help him travel around. It takes place back in 1925, so you can see a bunch of like old shit. Like it really gives you those vibes that like it takes place back then. I really like that. And there's a bunch of scenes where like you're in constant fear for like Togo the dog, like, or when you're in fear for Leonard, William Defoe's character, and it does all those scenes really well, and I give it props for that. Uh, I don't know what else to say about it really. You just gotta watch it because it's a pretty good movie, and more people should have been talking about it. At number 10 is the Lego Movie 2. Now, this was a long-awaited sequel for the 2014 huge movie. Like, everyone cried during that movie. Like, I was like, I remember being told like much after that, hey, there's gonna be a sequel to the Lego Movie. 4 years later, here we are. And whoa, this one is pretty good. It's not as good as the first one. It's got like, it feels like it's geared more towards kids. Like, you watch the first one now, it's like, holy shit, that was fucking awesome. And then you watch the second one, it's like that was cute. It feels like it's geared more towards kids. It's got a nice message. Like it has something about like sharing. Like obviously, like they show stuff from like the live action, like the kids who have the Legos. I feel like they showed a little too much of that. Like some certain plot points with the characters in the Lego world. You know what I mean? Have to do with it. Like there's a scene where Emmett is like under a laundry machine, and like the actual toy Emmett is like under an actual like washing machine, and that sort of takes out the imagination of this Lego world. I feel, but other than that, though, it was really good. With the message is nice. You got like, it's funny too. Like some of the songs are nice. there's like this one song about how like, oh, everything is fine, but it's like really suspicious. But no, everything really was gonna be fine. The music during the credits, I think it's literally, think the song is literally called "Funny Song" or something like that, that should say it all right there. Really, really funny. It's just maybe just search it up and listen to it. It's like the conflict between the brother and sister, like the live action brother and sister, is really nice. Up until the mom comes and takes it away, and that like you feel like shit when that happens. But then like the whole stepping on Lego joke happens, and then she goes, "I'm this close to childbirth pain." Like it just made me cringe. Other than that, though, I really like this movie. At number 9 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This is Quentin Tarantino's love letter to Hollywood, as it was based off of like probably one of the most uh, famous time periods in for Hollywood. It stars, it has a good cast behind it with the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Al Pacino, and they all really killed it. Leonardo DiCaprio plays Rick Dalton, who was an actor back in the day in like a show Bounty Law. Brad Pitt is a stunt double, and there's like just all these like adventures they go on. This movie's a little too long. Definitely, the main problem with it is that it's way too long. Like they could have cut like 40 minutes. I feel because it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, which makes it almost 3 hours. Other than that though, it also more on Margot Robbie. She plays Sharon Tate, and it didn't really feature the murder of Sharon Tate, which was pretty important. In fact, I remember at the end of the movie, just had uh, Leonardo DiCaprio's character or Rick Dalton meeting Sharon Tate, and the movie kind of ended, and it was sort of like, okay, what about the murder? The Manson family was in it. I feel like that plot line was touched pretty well. Yeah, really fun movie. The violence in it, it's not that violent. Quentin Tarantino is known for being like super violent, and this one's not as violent, but at the same time really violent. What I mean is like it doesn't have too many violent scenes, but the one violent scene it does have, oh boy, you're gonna love it. If you love Quentin Tarantino. At number 8 is Shazam. After a rocky start with the DCEU, we got Wonder Woman, then we got Justice League, and then we got Aquaman. It was kind of like, okay, DC's like, let's throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And I think so. They threw Shazam at the wall, and it definitely stuck. On one side you got like Zachary Levi as Shazam, like the adult version of Billy Batson, and you totally believe that he's just a teenager, like me almost, playing this older version of himself, this big muscular version of himself. That was really nice. It's really funny. A lot of the scenes stuck, and even some like a lot of the humor stuck. Is what I mean. Like landed, and even some of the stuff where it probably shouldn't have worked. Like there's like this one scene where Shazam and Doctor Sivana, the villain, is like they're fighting, and it's like an actual battle. But then like Doctor Sivana's like doing like dialogue, and but they're like them two are like very far away, and Shazam can't hear you, and he can't hear him. And he's like, "What? I can't hear you." It was funny. It was funny, and that shouldn't have worked. That didn't feel like something that should have worked, but it totally did. Um, as for stuff that didn't work for me, the tone was a bit. Tone shifts were a bit noticeable. Like at one second you got Shazam talking about piss, and then the next second you got a bunch of aliens eating people's heads off. In the end, though, like I said earlier, DC threw Shazam at the wall, and it totally stuck. At number 7 is Rocko's Modern Life Static Cling. Should this count as a movie? Well, Netflix lists it as a movie, as a net film. I never watched Rocko's Modern Life before this, actually. I knew about the show. I knew that the episodes weren't too connected, and I knew the finale, the series ended on Rocko and the crew, Filbert and Heifer, getting their house blown into space, and then the series just ended, basically. And I do really like how this episode like went with that ending and took place like right after that. That was really good. Stuff like that, and then they come back, and it's almost like, uh, oh, they're not in the '90s anymore. Time has changed, and which means like the show right now is probably really different for any like new viewer because like Rocko's Modern Life, it was sort of like showing how it was like for Rocko growing up in the '90s. Well, now we're not in the '90s. We're almost in the 2020s actually. So we're like way past that, and they realized that. So they went everywhere, and but then the whole story is like Rocko. He finds out that his favorite show, the Fatheads, is like off the air, and he wants it back, and it comes back, and it's different. And he doesn't like it, and the whole message here is change. You got to accept change. You might not like it, but it's gonna happen, and you got to accept it. Plus, there's this one twist with a character, like a reoccurring character in the show. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. There's a huge twist with him that like I'm like, oh, okay. So Rocko's Modern Life, only 45 minutes long, so definitely watch it if you want to. We go from one Netflix movie to another with The Irishman, a very similar movie. Yeah, Rocko's Modern Life to The Irishman. Scorsese knocks it out of the park with this one. This got some mixed reviews, or at least it's a little divisive. But I honestly think it's just because the movie's 3.5 hours long, and yeah, that's definitely something to be aware of when you go into this movie. It's a very long movie, but I suggest you watch it in like parts, like in little like 3 hour or half-hour periods. You got like you can watch it in like separate. Like you almost watch it in like 7 episodes, I guess. But the movie's good. First of all, you got Scorsese directing it. You got Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Al Pacino, with a very like fucking compelling and interesting story on Netflix for free. So like most of the movie is like just like the characters talking. It's De Niro, Pesci, and Pacino in a room talking. Take away the actors for a second. Just most of the movie of characters talking shouldn't sound good at all, but the way they pull it off here is fucking fantastic. Plus, there'll be like fights between characters. It's not like like a giant like like lightsaber fight or Avengers battle. Like it's like a fist fight, and you can really feel the tension between the two characters that do it because like you can tell that they like don't like each other or they're like actually genuinely mad at each other, and it's just one hell of a movie. At number 5 is Spider-Man: Far From Home. I wouldn't say I had the best experience watching this simply just because like I I didn't really watch its intended quality because I kind of missed it when it came out. But oh boy, I don't do that too often. But I'm so happy I did with this one because I'm so happy I saw it. It's Far From Home, probably the best Spider-Man movie live action. I still think the best Spider-Man movie is Into the Spider-Verse, but this one live action Spider-Man movie goes to this one because you got stuff like this. I like how it touches on the blip, the Thanos snapping and how everyone comes back from from Avengers Endgame, which yeah, I spoiled Avengers Endgame. You have to have seen it, but like we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. But this one, it's like yeah, it's funny how it's like sort of shows how some characters have changed, but then it's also you kind of feel bad for Peter Parker at times, like where he accidentally like blows up like his friends, or when he's just trying to hide a picture of him and another woman, or something. You got like a scene where he just doesn't want to bring the Spider-Man suit to Europe, or no, to France. I guess it's Europe, and but then his Aunt May packs it in, and when he's getting his bag checked, you can see like the security guard seeing it, and now she knows he's Spider-Man. Uh, you really do feel bad for him there, because like the man just wants a break, you know. You know, it's funny too. When is the Spider-Man movie not funny? You got a ton of cool stuff in this movie. The best live action Spider-Man. Not to mention, Mysterio's a fucking really cool villain, and that twist in the after credits. Oh boy! At number 4 is Ford v Ferrari. Now, I was really looking forward to this movie when it came out. When it was coming out, the first trailer dropped, and I'm like, I was hooked. And it came out, and it delivered all the expectations I had. With my main problem being, it was just a little too long. Like, they could have cut down like 30 minutes, maybe even 20 minutes of the movie, because there's just a lot of like boring paperwork that goes on in the movie. That's it. That's my only complaint. The movie, like, you got Christian Bale giving a really good performance as Ken Miles, and you got Matt Damon giving a really good performance as Carol Shelby. They are, this is based off a true story, which I don't know too much about, but you don't have to in order to like enjoy this movie. This because I thought this movie was really good. And you know, it has like keeping you on the edge of your seat, like sort of certain scenes where there's a race going on, and Christian Bale, like Ken Miles, I'm going to refer to him as Ken Miles, but he's like his door won't close, and you're like in constant like, oh shit, is he not going to win this? Like you want him to win, but the door is like making him not win, and then like you got a bunch of like Ken Miles and Carol Shelby actually start fighting, and you really kind of do feel bad because like they're kind of trying to help each other. It's sort of like you got the end too, where it's like, wow, they really just do that? Yeah, they did. You don't need to be a car fan to enjoy this movie, but if you're a car fan, you are gonna enjoy this movie. It's got emotion in it, and just fucking fantastic. Our number 3 spot goes to Toy Story 4. Holy shit, this out of every movie on this list that I was skeptical for, this one probably takes the cake. Toy Story 4 I was probably the most skeptical for. I was afraid it wouldn't have much justification for existing. I feel like it could have just been a thing that exists, that's it. Like, because we have Andy's arc, all finished up within the original trilogy of Toy Story movies. But that's the point. That's the thing. Andy's arc. This was Woody's arc. We didn't finish his arc. So, like, Bonnie is, like, really, not really playing with Woody. She's playing with, like, all the other toys. And then, like, she gets Forky and the big, like, he takes over. But then Forky and Woody get lost. And that's a big thing. Woody has to watch over Forky a lot because Forky just wants to keep going into the garbage. So it kind of shows like a father-son relationship there in a way. And then the end with the decision Woody makes, really, ooh, that hit me. That hit me. Especially, Toy Story is probably one of my favorite movies ever. So, I really like Woody, I think he's really cool. So this hit me, and apparently it made Tim Allen and Tom Hanks cry when they were doing like the little voiceover. So that should say something. Plus you got like some new characters like Duke Kaboom played by Keanu Reeves and Duck and Bunny played by Key and Peele. And Bo Peep, who we finally get to see more of, is fucking awesome in this movie. Yeah, Toy Story 4, a pleasant surprise. Our runner up for best movie of the year, or my best movie of the year, is the biggest movie of the year, Avengers Endgame. Holy shit. Okay, I didn't spoil like any movie this entire list, but I'm going to have to do that now. Avengers Endgame, like, is a it's a time travel movie. Yeah. See, this is probably the most fan servicey movie ever. Most people complain about fan service. That's when it's like undeserved, I feel. With this game, it was definitely deserved. With the 10 years of build and just oh my god. The portal scene is one of my favorite Marvel scenes ever, maybe even one of the most satisfying movie scenes I've ever seen in my life. It's so like I get so many chills when watching it. When Captain America grabs Thor's hammer, like that is fucking holy shit. The theater I was in erupted. Even when they went back to the first Avengers movie, that was the cast is great. Thanos still proves a very cool villain. I didn't have much of a problem with Thor. I know most people did. And Iron Man. Hmm. What did Iron Man do in this movie again? Oh yeah, he kind of like saved everyone and fucking died. This is not the Infinity Saga. This is the Iron Man saga. Let's just put it like that. I originally had this at number one, but I the more I think about it, the less organized this movie is. Look at Infinity War. Yeah, I still agree with my pick for putting that at number one last year. Everything in that movie happens for a reason. In this, not so much. Things just sort of happen. Ant-Man is the one who had the idea, but it's the rat. In some universes, another timeline, the rat didn't come. But number one is Joker. Holy fuck! This one was how long was this in production? Like fucking years, like over a decade. And then like Martin Scorsese was originally going to do it, but then it turns out he doesn't like superhero movies, which is kind of surprising. But holy shit, guys. Joker, like, this one makes you think. The scene in the subway, the scene at the end, at, like, the talk show, like, the end scene in, if I tell you everything in order, it's kind of gonna spoil it, but, holy fuck, like, this makes you think. Joaquin Phoenix is great as the Joker, definitely deserves an Oscar. You can totally buy that he's like a psychological, problematic man. That was a really weird way of saying it, but like you can tell that like he's got psychological problems. He's sort of like mental in a way. He's got like an illness with his laugh. You sort of feel bad for him because like you can see that it hurts him. Like he's laughing so hard it hurts him. When uh he's in front of like a crowd, you understand how like you feel bad for him because like he's just trying to like do his thing, but like he just keeps laughing. It's it makes you feel bad up until he turns into the Joker because everyone's disrespecting him, and it's really the awkward thing about this movie. I didn't find it too awkward, aside from the fact that like you he's kind of right in what he's doing. No, not in what he's doing, but like the reasons he's doing it. Like he, yeah, he's gotten treated like shit, and that's why he turned into the Joker. And like he's kind of right, not for like killing people or doing whatever he's doing, but like his motives. Like you feel for him up, and then like with certain paths he takes, it's like no, don't do that, and he does it. It's like this movie made stayed in my head for days. I originally gave this a lower score than Endgame, but like this is one of those movies that'll take a little bit for you to digest, and when you digest it, you should have like a proper opinion for it. Don't if you haven't seen this movie, don't be expecting like the over the top, off the wall superhero movie because that's not really what this movie is. It's a character study of the Joker, and it's a really good one and the best movie of 2019. So, what do you guys think? You guys can, you know, you don't have to list me every movie you saw this year if it's like much more than this list. But if you want to tell me like your top 5, 10, 15, 20, top 8 favorite movies you saw this year, go ahead and leave me a comment telling me so. Be sure to like this video, come subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next time. Bye.